Hey guys, I'm back. I decided to make another video. A lot has happened since the last video. I grew a beard, my hair got longer, I moved into a new place, got a new job. It has been a very eventful last few months. And I watched a lot of movies, and that's what today's video is kind of about. Since 2023 began, I have watched 268 movies, reviewed 226 of them, and in grand total that's 478 hours of movies. I love movies. And for the second year in a row, second year running, the GOAT, Willem Dafoe, was my most watched actor. I watched 8 different movies with Willem Dafoe this year. Sadly not with him in person. Mr. Bean's Holiday. Amazing film if you haven't seen it. Legitimately a masterpiece. It's one of those rare movies from the 2000s that's like a almost silent comedy throwback. It's just Mr. Bean giggling and mumbling incomprehensibly while just ruining people's lives, and it's very funny. And Willem Dafoe, he's got a small part in it. He plays the director of like a pretentious film at Cannes Film Festival. Even though he's not in it very much, he's still very funny, and I love that he's there. I watched Born on the 4th of July this year, on 4th of July. There's not really much I can say about this film, so I'll just let this clip speak for itself.
Don't say penis in this house! Penis! No! Penis! Big fucking erect penis, no! Mom! Penis! Penis!
That is the best scene in the movie, and if you haven't seen it, you need to see it. Also, very classy, Alfred Hitchcock was my most watched director this year. I haven't really watched that much Hitchcock up until now. And, you know, going to film school, hearing all about him, you hear, oh, Hitchcock's the best, he's the top 10, he's the GOAT, top 10 directors of all time. You gotta watch Hitchcock. And, you know, when someone gets, you know, peddled to you that much, you kind of tend to avoid them. But I was so wrong to avoid Hitchcock. I'm constantly reminded with every film that I watch why he is the master of suspense. One of the films from him I watched this year was Notorious, and to have like a complex female character as the lead of your movie in the 1960s, you don't really see too many of those. So I gotta appreciate him for that. Like, Notorious is a good watch. Watch Notorious if you haven't watched Notorious. It's notorious for a reason. I also watched Rear Window just this year. Love the colors in that movie. James Stewart, as always, is incredible. He's just, you know, that man's always at the top of his game in every movie he's in. The cinematography in all of Hitchcock's films, too, is just really engaging. I feel like a lot of the reasons most people don't really gravitate towards silent films as much is the camera work is just very boring in a lot of them, because a lot of them are just, you know, static shot, watch the people. And it's just people in a room talking, and there's not really much involved with the camera, because the cameras back then were like fucking huge, and you had to move them around with like a team of like 20 men, and usually people didn't really put that much effort into moving the camera, but Hitchcock did back then. And, you know, just the simple act of playing around with the camera just a little bit makes the film so much more engaging for me, especially in Rear Window. Like, the framing that he does in that, because, you know, you're looking through a bunch of, you know, people's little windows. It's, you know, a playground for creative framing, and I love that. It was such a good movie. I also saw The Birds this year, you know, like one of his later films, but still, like, amazing. It is a little silly. It is a little silly that a grown woman can't overpower, like, maybe 20 birds trying to get through a crack in the door. That is a little silly, but, you know, suspension of disbelief. Hey, birds are attacking people. I can accept that. I can accept that she goes, oh, and faints a little bit. I can accept that. It doesn't ruin the movie for me. It's still a super suspenseful, great time. I love it. And, you know, after venturing through that much Hitchcock, I decided to, you know, branch out a little bit and watch one of his earliest films, A Man Who Knew Too Much. And can't say I loved it. But there is a very entertaining sequence where people just throw chairs at each other for like a solid 3 minutes. So it's worth watching for that. I love that Letterboxd gives me like a couple of stats to just like round out the year and make it a little bit more interesting. It showed me what my first and last watch of the year were. My first watch was Safety Last, an old Harold Lloyd film, and not the only Harold Lloyd film I watched this year. I kind of went on a little silent movie kick, just a little bit. Silent films are crazy. I love how creative they are in their just visual storytelling, because, you know, there is no sound, and it forces people to be like, okay, we need to spell things out for the audience. But it kind of becomes, you know, more efficient than words ever could be for, you know, this is what's going on. And sometimes I wish more movies could be like that, because it allows you to kind of just concentrate more on it by not concentrating as hard. I don't know if that makes sense, but like, you can kind of just zone out watching a silent movie and still understand it deeply, because you're locked in. You see everything that's going on. And I wish more movies could do that. And my last watch of the year was Trading Places, a New Year's classic. I watch it every year, and it's funny every year. I also got a little milestone markers for the amount of films I watched. I usually don't crack 200, but this year I did. So my 50th watch of the year was Batman Begins. I showed it to my little sister just to show her what was up. And my little sister's like heavy into the Marvel Cinematic Universe right now. She didn't really know what to make of it at first, but I think it kind of grew on her. It grew on me too, because I always kind of thought Batman Begins was the weaker Batman movie, but I walked away with a greater appreciation for it this time, both in what it does for Bruce Wayne as a character, and, you know, the way Gotham City looks in that. I love The Dark Knight, but Gotham City definitely looks a little better in Batman Begins. It definitely feels more lived in. My 100th watch of the year was Kindergarten Cop. I love Arnold. He's my favorite. I love the way he says cookies. He says cookies just like that in like almost all his movies. It's so funny. So funny every time. I watched Inglorious Bastards again this year. I didn't really care for it much when I was, I think 12, 13 when I first saw it, but I'm going back to it now with a fully developed adult brain, and I'm able to appreciate how good it is. And little kid me did not realize that most of this movie is just a Jewish woman rejecting a Nazi incel and then killing him. I really like that. My 200th watch of the year was a short film called The Deep End. It's a short film about a boy who sneaks into someone's backyard to go swimming in their pool and finds there is something sinister in the water with him. It's sufficiently creepy, very short. I'm glad I watched it. It was a sufficiently creepy time. I don't know how many people are aware of the new Blumhouse movie coming out, Night Swim. This short film predates it, and I think is much better than whatever I saw in that trailer over there. It did not match the vibe of the short film, which manages to be way creepier in way less time. My 250th watch was Violent Night. I didn't really pay attention. I was wrapped up in a game of Catan with some friends, and we put it on the background, but the fights looked cool. I'll probably watch it again next year. My top 3 highly rated movies this year, according to Letterboxd, were Barbie, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, and John Wick Chapter 4. I'm just a little upset by this, because it makes me feel kind of basic, because I watched way more movies than that this year. Those just, happen to be the biggest, and I just happen to enjoy them the most, because they are very fun. Barbie, with the exception of American Fiction, which I watched last night, highly recommend it. Definitely go see it. Barbie, I think, is the second or third funniest movie I saw this year. Ryan Gosling just, oh my god, that is the comedic performance of a generation right there. I would be so happy if he actually got the Best Actor nomination for Barbie. That would be so silly. Something about him, just the memes alone that have come out of this, something about him just connects with the people, man. He's so funny. He's so funny. Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is the best blockbuster to come out in a while. Maybe the last great MCU movie. And I'm kind of okay with that, at least for a little while, until they do something new. But yeah, man, just it was so nice to have closure on that story, and immediately brought me back to being 14, watching the first one in theaters. Just, people who know where you were summer of 2014, it was mwah. And of course, John Wick Chapter 4. How could I not love it? Especially when this scene exists. So that about does it for this video. I'll try to do the next one a little quicker. I got 2 ideas coming up. I'm gonna do another tier list soon, and there's another Scott Pilgrim video that I've been working on for a while. Gotta reread the series before I can really sink my teeth into it. But yeah, be on the lookout for those, and hopefully I'll have the next one out soon. See you guys.